sometimes you just need to do a hand stitched hem. So in order to do a proper hand stitched hem, you turn up your hem, you press it, go to the wrong side, you turn under the top allowance, and I usually start at a side seam. And what you want to do is, first on the side seam, you do a couple of whip stitches to kind of anchor it. Then to start your, basically it's a blind hem. I'm going to take this pin out. And you put it underneath the edge where that fold is. Put it under, come back up in almost the same spot. Put your needle inside that fold about 1/4 of an inch. Pull it through. And you're going to do that all the way around. So it's underneath the fold, come back up into the fold, and then you're going to put that needle in the middle of the layers, about 1/4 inch. Pull that through and continue on just like this. I always poke it up through there just to make sure that it's through all the layers, and then I'll pull it back and put it back in between the folded top. So when I do that, this folded edge here, that's where the pin goes inside. It goes inside that fold. That's what makes it an invisible hem. Like that. And the reason why I do my stitches 1/4 inch apart is because it makes a nice tight hem, nice even. You can put little dots on here with a washable fabric marker if you want to know where to put your needle in and out. I've done this for so many years that 1/4 inch is pretty set in my brain. So we're going to go like this and go through that fold, pull that through, and then back down, be underneath it in that same spot, put it back up through. Be careful not to tangle your thread in it, and pull it through that way. Some people will actually put the needle through that loop that comes up, so it leaves like this kind of whip stitch looking top, but it's not necessary. You want to make sure that you pull it but not too snug. You don't want it to gather up on you. So I've already gone around this pant leg halfway. I'm on the back half right now. And as you can see, I've only got just a little bit of ways to go. So when you're finished, it looks like this. You can't even see the stitches. If you do it right, you cannot see the stitches. Then you turn it around to the right side, and you can barely see the stitches at all. I mean, the stitches are there, but they're really difficult to see, especially when you're just looking down at these. The other thing, too, you want to make sure is whatever color your fabric is on the right side, your thread, you want it to be just a half a shade lighter, because the lighter thread will blend in with the main fabric. So this is a hand done blind hem stitch. And I mean, you can space them wider, but when you space them wider than 1/4 inch, what can happen is in the course of washing, that edge that's underneath the lip of the folded fabric can get caught on another garment, a bra hook or a zipper pull, and then you run the risk of your hem getting pulled out and then you have to restitch it. And you don't want to have to go through that. So I'm just kind of going through and finishing this up. The other thing too is your thread should be whatever the circumference of your pant leg is, however wide this pant leg is, from one seam to the other seam, you want to have 4 times as much thread to make sure you're able to go around and not have to reload your needle. Sometimes I just choose to do a hand blind hem just because I think it looks really good. I know that it holds good and tight because I know how tight my stitches are. And I don't have to worry about missed stitches, like sometimes happens with sewing machine. And not that that happens all the time or a lot, but it does occur. And when you're doing it like a very intricate spot on a garment, a little blind hem stitch, and it can be just a ticket to actually gather something up. Just like that. I am almost to the end of my side here. And I go under where I first pulled it up. Put the needle in that channel, 1/4 inch, pull it through. Go back down and up. And if it's a kind of a stretchy fabric, you might want to make sure that you maybe definitely do 1/4 inch ones. Other ones you can get away with like 3/8, like cottons, denim. This is like a lightweight denim. So I could have gone wider on these. I just think the tighter they are, the better. Less chance of a shoe heel ripping out the hem. There's nothing for it to catch on to. And sorry about that. I'm trying to stay in camera view here. And I take the straight pins out as I go. You want to keep your thread behind the needle point so you don't run the risk of putting a knot in it inadvertently. So we're going to go like this way. I am almost to the end, so when I get to the end over here, because this has already been anchored down, I'm going to take that last pin out and do these last few stitches, and I'll show you how to anchor it down at the end as well as the beginning. Same kind of anchoring stitch. You don't want any loops, you know, sticking up, so you want to make sure it's you know, snug. Not over tight, but just snug. That's why you put the needle under it. Come up, under, come up in that channel, that folded over fabric channel. And you want the thread to go behind it. You don't want it to be under the needle. You see how that kind of went under the needle? You want it all behind. If it does kind of gather up, then you just stretch it back out because you still have this extra thread at the end. So put that under there. 1/4 inch through the channel. You can also wet your fingers and then wet the thread so it doesn't tend to separate. Another little trick we were taught growing up. And now the key with the channel part of it, it's typically a 1/2 inch, not a 1/2 inch, excuse me, a 1/4 inch tucked under and then pressed really good so that it stays nice and crisp so that you can sew through it. Okay, so we're coming to the side seam. And you see, I'm using these fingers of this hand to hold this taut and flat as I'm stitching. I had a little loop there, so I'm going to pull this kind of snug and then straighten it back out. That makes the stitches better. from that, and I'm pushing up. These fingers under here, I'm pushing up at the side seam because sometimes it'll tend to buckle and try to make a lump. So I'm avoiding the lump by just stretching it out just a little bit. Now when you get actually to the side seam part right here, that's where you want to go into this top layer of material from here. So I'm going to go down underneath to that really thick spot. Come up there, and then I'm going to go take from there, go into both layers of this top channel. Both layers, not through it, around it. And I'm just going to, this is how I started it off, just like this. Just kind of like, so this last stitch and the first stitch do not go all the way out to the outside at all. And then for the very last thing to tie it off, you have this loop of thread. And you're going to put your needle, come here, you're going to put this needle in that loop, like this. It's through the loop, you can see through the loop, and then you're going to pull it, and pull it tight. You can do that once or twice. My personal choice is I do it twice. Go through, find that loop, put the needle through both thread loops like this, and then just tie it off. I usually do two. 1, 2, and then take this and then put it back into that channel in the top. Pull it through. That, and then I'm going to take my scissors and I'm going to just cut that off. And just like that. And that is a blind stitch, hand stitched. A blind hem stitch that was hand stitched. You can barely even see the stitches. Isn't that gorgeous? And it's really easy to do.